What's going on, SC430 community? My name is Henry. Today's video, we're going to be doing a muffler delete along with maybe one cat delete on Operation Frankenstein. To be honest, completely tired of having the SC430 being so quiet, because it is a very quiet V8 car. It's because, as you know, Operation Frankenstein is my daily car. So driving that around compared to Cypress, my other SC430 that's modded out, hearing how quiet the SC430 is, it's too quiet for a V8 in my honest opinion. If it was a V6, then I wouldn't care about an exhaust system, but with the SC430 being a V8, I'm tired of it being so quiet. So today we're going to be doing a muffler delete. I have some very weird ideas that I kind of want to play around with it, since Frankenstein is kind of an experimental car, and you know, it's been through a lot, so it's going to be an interesting way of doing a muffler delete. I'll get to that when we actually end up doing it. And then the cat, I'm just going to drill out the insides with a drill. But I'm going to start with the muffler delete. But it's either we can just cut the muffler right off and just do pipes, you know, straight to where they need to be. And then I have another idea, which may work, possibly, but it may not. So we'll see what happens. I do have the car jacked up for a while anyway, so it's gonna be a while before I actually get the car on the road again. So at this point, we can just basically play around with the exhaust system since I want to do it. So tools we're gonna need. We're gonna need an impact 100%. I can't remember the sizes. I want to say they're 14 or 16 millimeter. We'll need a wrench for that and an impact socket. We're going to be needing a lot of different prying tools, so crowbar, a really long screwdriver, things like that, just to get, you know, the mounts for the muffler off, because they kind of suck to take off for Arizona cars, because the rubber dries out really hard, so it makes them super stiff. So I'll be using WD-40 to try to loosen it up a little bit. You're going to need the gaskets. I have them ordered at the Lexus dealership, so I have to go pick those up at some point. So, but the only reason you need the gasket is if you're taking out the whole, you know, exhaust system like I am. But if you're just cutting the muffler, then you don't really need the gaskets. But we're going to be doing it my way. A little bit weird, sort of DIY. So we'll see what happens. But for now, for us to get started, you're also going to need, if you're going to do it yourself, welding equipment. So if you know how to weld, take advantage. I am a very mediocre welder. I am not the greatest. I do know how to weld, but I'm not good at it. So the weld's going to look like garbage. So that's why I'm trying to do this muffler delete a very weird way of doing it. So basically the welds would be hidden, but then again, it's like I don't take my car to a mechanic anyway, so nobody's gonna see it regardless, and it's underneath the car, so who cares if the welds look like shit, as long as it, you know, holds everything together. There's no leaks, there's nothing, right? Otherwise it doesn't matter what the weld looks like, and if you really need to, you could sand it off and, you know, make it look cleaner. But I personally do not care. It is Operation Frankenstein. It's a Frankenstein car. The whole car itself looks like garbage, besides the outside, if you look farther away and don't look too close at it. But it is what it is. So we'll get started by showing you what it sounds like before. So this is going to be at about 2,000 RPM, because the car does have a really high idle. So we're going to hear it at 2,000 RPM, and then we're going to try to rev it to about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, and then we'll do the same thing once we're done. So let's show you what it sounds like right now. Okay, so I am underneath the car now. This is what we're gonna take out. As you can see, I lubricated it with 3040. So it's a little bit wet, make it a little bit easier, hopefully, to remove. You can see there is a little bracket over it, so we're gonna have to take that out. That's gonna be a 12 millimeter, I believe. So there's 4. We'll take that out. Use the 14 impact and wrench to get the 2 bolts to the cat, and then basically from there it's getting these rubber mounts for the exhaust off. There's one here, one over here, and one right here. So that's probably going to be the most difficult, and then obviously the whole thing will come off from there. So in theory it's easy, it looks easy, but this stuff is really hard to get off in my opinion, especially on your own. So we'll see what I can do. Okay, so here is the exhaust system. Those are the resonators, gonna keep those. And then my idea is to somehow cut this open and basically just put the pipe that goes here into the actual muffler itself, and then just weld a pipe that goes across into here. So basically it would look OEM. And then obviously weld the cover back on, maybe, and then put it back in, so from underneath the car you won't even see the top, so it'll look pretty much OEM. That's my idea, but if not, you can always just, you know, cut it right here and then just weld your own pipe all the way out. It requires you to line it up properly and then, you know, tack weld it and then weld it all the way, because we go to Cypress here, you can see I did that. I cut it, you can see the line, cut it right there where the muffler would be, and then welded my own pipe that goes all the way across to here, welded another elbow pipe, welded it all the way across to here, and then put the tip on and then lined it up to how far I wanted it, then welded it in there, and then I spray painted the whole thing black so you don't see how bad the welds are, so don't look too close. But that's how I did it on this one. And then I also did the resonators too, so they're not there also. So I'm gonna try to do that to this, but without all that extra lining up nonsense. So let's see if I can cut into this maybe. Hopefully. Well, here you guys have it. If you're ever curious to know what the muffler looks like on the inside of the Lexus SC430, as you can see, the cat's up there, or that's where the cat would be, into the two resonators and then into the muffler. So the sound would basically go through in here, bounce around in here, go through this pipe that's on the side, bounce around in here, then it goes through this pipe and then out. And then same thing with this side. It goes in here, bounce around in here, goes through here, and then all the way out. So this is the reason why, although the SC430 is a V8, it's really, really quiet for a V8 because of not only just the resonators, but the muffler plays a big part of it because it makes, you know, the sound waves bounce around more instead of just coming straight out. So the goal here, because typically you would just cut the muffler, you know, right here, right, and then weld your own pipe and make it, you know, come out to however you want it. But I am thinking of doing it a different way, definitely a weird way of doing it, because I just want to keep the anchor points here without having to weld my own, just because I'm not a great welder, let alone, you know, being able to aim the pipe where I want it. So I am thinking of just cutting all these walls here that suppress the sound, cut the pipes right here. So then all I would do is buy a pipe that goes here, right, and then angle it so that it turns right and just goes out to here, and then weld it right here. So it would just be basically a muffler delete, but I'm keeping the casing of the muffler itself. So yeah, I'll keep you updated once I finish this up and see how it looks. We're also going to be using this drill here with an 18-inch long drill bit, and we're going to drill out the catalytic converter that's in here. So you can do that without getting the sensor light and still pass emissions, because there is no sensor that directly communicates with that catalytic converter to read whatever emissions is coming out. It mainly does the two by the headers, which is O2 sensor regulated. So the last cat basically has zero purpose. So we're just going to drill that one out, make it sound a little bit nice while keeping the resonators so it's still relatively quiet. It's just that you would be able to hear the V8. So we will see you in a bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. There you guys have it. I have finished drilling out the cat. Finally finished cutting up the muffler and welding elbow pipes. If you're curious to know which size I used 2.5-inch 90-degree elbow pipes. So as you can see, I put some cuts at the bottom because since I'm not covering the muffler, or well, what's left of the muffler, there is a chance things will get in it. Very unlikely, but just in case, you know, if it's water or whatever, I at least have a cut so it can, you know, leak through it. And I have the new gasket here that goes to that end. I'll show on screen what the old one looks like when it came out comparing to the new one. But basically now we're ready to put this thing back in think we're going to start putting this end in first, probably because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to put in, because putting that in is going to be no problem. So let's get to it.
Another hot one. Shit up. I'm waiting for
some things aren't meant to be fair. I know you left me down and out, and now the river it lay shades and you're second again. You're gonna miss it here. Get hard side. You better hope you make it. Better hope you got it. Better you should have kept up on your end. Should have been there when you said I depended on you over and over again. You think I'll sit here and pretend I don't forgive, I don't forget. Let me tell you this, my friend, you better lay low.
There you guys have it. That's how you do a muffler delete and a catalytic converter delete. At least a weird way of doing it, but you can tell the sounds a lot better. You can actually at least hear a little bit of the V8 without being, you know, too obnoxious to other people on the road. So you can show whose business, right? When it comes to the SC430, it's not just a super quiet car. You know, typically convertibles are 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder. We have a V8. So now with the muffler delete and a cat delete, you can hear a little bit of the rumble, a little bit of the drone, but it's nothing too crazy to make it sound really raspy or obnoxious. It just sounds like a nice car, right? That's just driving around, little vroom, and then done. You know, it's not just super loud noise to the point where you can't hear anything on the road. But there you guys have it. That's how you guys do muffler and cat delete, or at least a way of doing it. But otherwise, other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.